There are some people who walk into a room and feel everything. The words left unspoken, the emotions hanging heavy in the air, the pain no one dares to say out loud. They carry it, even when they don't want to, even when they don't understand why. They are not weak. They are not broken. They are master number 11. The language of numbers. 11 is not ordinary. It's not even just a number. It's a portal, a spiritual doorway between the seen and unseen, the logical and the mystical, the human and the divine. But what happens when you live your whole life as that portal, and nobody ever told you? What happens when your soul remembers everything, but your mind is still trying to survive? Master number 11s are rare, but not because there are few of them. They're rare because most of them don't know who they are. They just think they're too emotional, too intense, too different. From the moment they're born, they sense too much. The tension between their parents, the fear in their teachers, the sadness in their friends. They absorb emotions like skin absorbs light, and the problem is, they don't know how to turn it off. In numerology, master numbers are double digits that repeat: 11, 22, 33. They hold amplified frequencies, more potential, more power, and more pressure. 11 is the number of the spiritual messenger, the light bearer, the intuitive visionary. But with that light comes shadow, because you can't be a beacon without first surviving the darkness. Many 11s have difficult childhoods, not always in the physical sense, but emotionally, energetically, spiritually. They often feel like they were born into the wrong family, like they're older than their parents, like nobody understands them. They're told to stop crying, to get over it, to toughen up. But they're not soft. They're sensitive, which is different. They don't break easily. They bend. And they bend until the world breaks around them. Master number 11s don't just sense feelings. They see through lies. They hear the truth in someone's silence. They know things before they're told. And that scares people, even the people closest to them. Because when an 11 looks at you, you feel like they're looking at your soul. And sometimes, they are. You cry over things that don't make sense. You love people who don't love themselves. You feel responsible for the emotions in the room. You try to fix things you didn't break, and it's exhausting. But here's the secret they never told you. You're not too much. You were born to carry much. Because you were born to transmute it. You're not emotional because you're weak. You're emotional because you're tuned in. You're a receiver, and the world is your frequency. 11s don't show their power in loud ways. They're not here to dominate. They're here to awaken. They often look soft, gentle, quiet, but inside them is a storm, vision, calling. And when they step into alignment, they don't just inspire people, they awaken them. Before the light comes the descent. Almost every master number 11 will go through what mystics call the dark night of the soul. It may come as depression, loss, abandonment, shame, spiritual confusion, emotional chaos. It is not a punishment, it is an initiation. The old self breaks apart so the soul can rise through the cracks. You're not dying, you're waking up. Her name was Amara. She was born on a November 11th. At 11:11 p.m. her life path. Master number 11. By age 6, she could sense when someone was lying. By 10, she would cry in rooms where nothing had happened, but something had been left behind. By 15, she was diagnosed with anxiety. By 18, depression. But what no one realized was that her mind wasn't broken. It was just too awake. She was feeling the emotions of others like they were her own. And for years, she thought that made her weak. Until the day she learned about her number, and her entire life made sense. Once an 11 learns who they are, everything begins to shift. They stop apologizing for their tears. They stop minimizing their intuition. They stop shrinking to fit into spaces that never felt safe. They begin to create, to teach, to guide, to heal, to shine, but quietly, powerfully, from the inside out. 11 at MeFS are not here to follow the rules. They are here to rewrite the soul's language, through art, through words, through presence. They don't have to speak loudly. Their energy does the work for them. You've felt it before, haven't you? That one person who just walks into a room and something shifts. That was probably an 11. So why does it hurt so much to be an 11? Because you're holding the blueprint for a world that doesn't exist yet. And every time you feel too much, you're tuning into what needs to be healed. Every tear you've cried has watered someone else's soul. Every time you broke, you made room for someone else's light to enter. You don't feel for no reason. You feel for transformation. So if you are an 11, remember this. You are not cursed. You are calibrated for divinity. You are not weak. You are woven with wisdom. You are not broken. You are becoming. If this spoke to something in your soul, you're not alone. You're awakening. You were not born to be numb. You were born to feel, to carry, to heal, to reflect a light that others forgot was theirs. You are master number 11, and the curse of feeling everything was never a punishment, it was your preparation. Now, you're ready to rise. Every 11 has a moment when their heart becomes a fire, a moment when their pain becomes power, when they stop asking, why me, and start asking, who can I help? It happens quietly, not with fireworks, but with clarity. You feel it in your chest, a pulse, a knowing, the kind of knowing that doesn't need proof, because your soul remembers, even when your mind forgets. What does it look like when a master number 11 steps into their purpose? It doesn't always look grand. It looks aligned. It's the poet who writes words that crack people open. The teacher who doesn't just instruct, but ignites. The nurse who holds your hand and makes you feel like everything's going to be okay. The friend who listens so deeply, you forget you were ever alone. They don't do it for fame. They do it because they can't not do it. The message lives in their blood. It moves through their voice. It vibrates in their energy. And when they speak, the room shifts. When they're silent, the room feels held. Because they are a channel right now. The world is loud. But underneath the noise, people are silently begging for something real. They're scrolling endlessly, trying to feel something. And that's where you come in. Master 11s aren't entertainers. They're reminders. Reminders of light, of truth, of grace, of what it means to feel. In a world that's forgotten how, the path of a master number 11 isn't easy. It's sacred. You'll lose people. You'll be misunderstood. You'll cry more than most, and feel alone even when you're surrounded. But in the spaces where others break, you bend the light. You find beauty in the cracks. You make medicine from your scars. Your story becomes someone else's roadmap. Your empathy becomes someone else's oxygen. Your voice becomes someone else's beginning. You won't always see the impact. Sometimes your words won't get a reply. Sometimes your art won't go viral. Sometimes your love won't be returned. But the energy you put out never disappears. It echoes in hearts, in timelines, in lives you never even knew you touched. And one day, someone will whisper your name with reverence, because you helped them breathe again. Even awakened 11s will still have nights of doubt. The world will still feel heavy. You'll still wonder if you're doing enough. You'll still ache for something that has no name. That's okay. You weren't meant to escape the human experience. You were meant to alchemize it, to take darkness and paint it into light, to take silence and sculpt it into healing sound. That's the artist. That's the messenger. That's the 11. Master 11s are remembered not for what they built, but for what they unlocked in others. You won't leave monuments, you'll leave awakenings. You won't leave instructions, you'll leave invitations. You won't just change lives, you'll birth versions of people they never knew were possible. That's your legacy, and it begins every time you stop hiding. The world won't always reward your depth. It might ignore your wisdom, mock your emotions, dismiss your knowing, but that's not your cue to go quiet. It's your cue to shine louder. Your light doesn't need validation, it just needs courage, because somewhere out there is a version of you, 10 years ago, on the floor, crying, searching for a sign, and that sign, before you were born. You chose this. You chose to feel deeply, to awaken slowly, to hurt with purpose, to love without conditions, to carry the light through centuries of shadow. You chose master number 11, and with it, you signed a contract. I will help the world remember. You are not too much. You are a mirror of the divine. You are not lost. You are being led. You are not cursed. You are coded with awakening. And if no one has told you lately, we see you. We feel you. We need you. Because the light you carry is the same light. That will lead us home. If this story cracks something open in your heart, subscribe to Stories That Heal the Soul. Tell us in the comments, what message do you believe your soul came here to deliver? Because someone is waiting to hear it, and they'll only hear it through you.